Captain Elias Rourke felt a mix of fear and wonder as he stepped off the alien ship onto the surface of Valtar, the capital world of the Xanthari Empire. The air was thin but breathable. Around him stretched a city unlike any he had ever seen on Earth or in any book. Tall towers of metal and glass twisted up toward the sky. The colors of the buildings changed as the sun moved, shining like giant crystals. Strange flying vehicles zoomed quietly between the towers. People of many different species walked the streets. Some had skin like shiny stone. Others had scales or feathers. All of them looked at Elias with a mix of curiosity, respect, and even awe. Elias felt like a small fish in a vast, unknown ocean. But he remembered the reason he was here: to represent humanity in a place where humans had never been before. A group of Xanthari soldiers came to escort him to the palace. Their armor was smooth and glowing faintly, unlike any weapon or armor Elias had ever seen. The soldiers moved silently, but Elias could feel their eyes watching his every step. As they walked through the great city, whispers followed them. Some aliens whispered to each other in strange languages. Others stopped and stared openly. Finally, they arrived at the palace. It was huge, a shining tower that reached high into the clouds, built from a metal that seemed alive, glowing softly in blue and gold. Inside the palace, Elias was led through grand halls decorated with strange symbols and ancient artwork. The air smelled faintly of something sweet and spicy. At last, Elias was brought before the alien queen, Ziera. She sat on a throne that looked like it was made of light and crystal. Her skin was smooth and pale, her eyes deep and bright like stars. Elias noticed something different. The queen did not sit like a ruler demanding respect. Instead, she looked at Elias with something like reverence. Without a word, she stood up slowly and stepped down from her throne. Then, to Elias's shock, she bent her knee and bowed her head to him. The hall was silent. Every alien present followed her lead, kneeling before Elias. Elias's mind raced. Why would the most powerful being in the galaxy bow to a human? The queen spoke then, her voice calm but powerful. "Captain Elias Rourke, you carry the blood of the progenitors, the first beings to shape this galaxy." Elias blinked. He had heard stories of the progenitors, a race lost in time, said to have created many species, but never humans. Ziera continued. Long ago, the progenitors vanished, leaving their legacies scattered across the stars. You are the living proof of their final gift. We honor you not as a visitor, but as an heir. A mix of awe and confusion filled Elias. The crowd whispered excitedly, some amazed, some angry. Elias realized this meeting was far bigger than he had imagined. It was not just about peace or friendship. It was about a destiny no one had prepared him for. The alien queen's respect was not just a greeting. It was a call to something much greater. The hall was still and quiet after Queen Ziera bowed before Elias. The many alien leaders and nobles gathered in the great chamber looked at him with wide eyes. Whispers floated through the air like soft wind, some in surprise, some in fear, some in hope. Elias stood tall but felt a heavy weight on his shoulders. He was just one man, a simple human, suddenly caught in the middle of something much bigger than himself. The queen's voice broke the silence. "People of the conclave, today we welcome not just a visitor, but the living echo of a prophecy," she said clearly, her words ringing through the hall. All eyes turned to Elias. "A prophecy?" Elias asked quietly. Ziera nodded. "Long ago, the progenitors created many species, but none were as mysterious as the humans. They vanished before they could finish their work, leaving a puzzle behind. Now, Elias Rourke, you carry the key." The crowd murmured again. The queen raised her hand, and the hall fell silent. Elias is the heir of the unseen architects, the last link to the progenitors. His presence here means that the time of change is at hand. Elias did not understand the full meaning of her words. He felt like a child told to lead a giant army. An elder alien stepped forward. a tall being with pale silver skin and eyes like burning coals. How can we trust a human? Why should we listen to him or follow this prophecy? The elder demanded. Zaera answered calmly, because the progenitor's legacy is not based on power or force. It is built on wisdom, unity, and hope. Elias has already shown strength in his courage and honor. The elder's eyes narrowed. If he truly carries their blood, then he must prove it. Elias felt all eyes on him. He knew he had to say something. I don't know what this prophecy means, Elias said honestly, but I am here to learn, to understand, and to help. I want peace, not war. If you trust me, then help me prove that humanity deserves its place here. The hall was silent once more. The queen smiled softly, then said, Very well. Elias will face the tests of the progenitors. Only then will the truth be known. The crowd gasped. Tests? Elias asked, surprised. Trials to show your worthiness, Zaera explained. They will be difficult, but you will not be alone. A group of Xanthari scholars and warriors stepped forward. We will guide and protect you, they promised. Elias looked around the great hall. For the first time, he felt a small spark of hope. He was not just a human alone on an alien world. He was part of something bigger, a story written in the stars long before he was born. As the queen's words echoed in his mind, Elias knew this journey was just beginning. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, rested on his shoulders now. The alarms echoed through the grand halls of the Xanthari Palace. Captain Elias Work's heart raced. He had barely understood the power of the progenitor relics when danger suddenly struck. Outside the vault, alien guards rushed to defend the palace. But Elias knew this attack was different. It was not a random raid. It was a carefully planned strike by enemies who wanted to stop him. Word had spread quickly. A human carried the legacy of the progenitors. Some powerful groups feared what that could mean. Among them was the Threx Dominion, a brutal warlord clan that ruled parts of the galaxy with violence and fear. Elias tightened his grip on a small energy pistol that Xanthari had given him. It was far more advanced than Earth weapons, but it was still just a tool. His true strength was his mind and courage. As he moved through the palace corridors, he saw flashes of the fight. Xanthari soldiers clashed with dark armored attackers. The sounds of energy blasts and shouts filled the air. Suddenly, Elias was face to face with one of the assassins, a tall figure wearing black armor with red glowing eyes. The assassin raised a blade that shimmered with deadly energy. Elias ducked just in time and fired his pistol. The shot hit the wall behind the attacker, and the assassin growled in frustration. They fought fiercely. Elias used his training, his quick thinking, and even the strange alien technology around him to stay alive. He jumped, rolled, and dodged through the halls. But the attackers kept coming, more and more. Elias knew he couldn't face them all alone. Just when he thought he might be trapped, a group of Xanthari warriors arrived. They fought alongside him, pushing back the attackers. One warrior, tall and fierce, shouted, "We will protect the hair of the progenitors." Elias felt a surge of hope. He was not alone. These aliens had chosen to stand with him, not just because of duty, but because they believed in what he represented. The battle moved toward the throne room. Elias realized the Threx Dominion wanted to capture or kill the alien queen herself. If they succeeded, chaos would spread through the galaxy. Elias and his allies raced ahead. With every step, Elias's resolve grew stronger. He was a human, small in this vast universe, but he would not back down. The palace trembled as explosions shook the walls. Yet Elias's mind was clear. This fight was not just for survival. It was for the future, for the peace and honor that the queen had seen in him. As they reached the throne room doors, Elias looked back once more. The legacy of the progenitors was in his hands, and now so was the fate of the galaxy. The great doors of the palace's inner sanctum closed behind Elias with a heavy thud. The sounds of battle faded, leaving a deep silence. In this quiet, Elias faced a new challenge, the trial of the celestial fire. Queen Zayara stood before him, her eyes steady and calm. "This trial will test your heart, your mind, and your spirit," she said. "The progenitors designed it to prove who is truly worthy of their legacy." Elias felt a mixture of fear and determination. He knew this was no ordinary test. It would push him beyond anything he had faced before. The room transformed around him. Walls of light rose up, casting strange shadows. In the center burned a pillar of blue fire, the celestial flame. It was bright but did not burn Elias's skin. Instead, it seemed to challenge him. "Step forward," the queen commanded. Elias walked carefully toward the flame. Suddenly, the fire shifted, creating visions before his eyes. He saw stars being born and dying, ancient ships traveling vast distances, and strange creatures struggling for survival. Then came the first test, a puzzle of logic. Shapes and symbols appeared in the air, rotating and changing. Elias had to arrange them into a pattern that told a story. He studied them quickly, using his knowledge of the progenitor symbols. After a tense moment, the puzzle clicked into place. The fire glowed brighter. Next came a test of courage. The celestial flame formed a barrier, and Elias could hear distant roars and threats. Invisible, he knew, were dangers waiting to trap him. But he did not step back. He held his ground, trusting his instincts and training. The fire seemed to recognize his bravery and opened a path forward. The final test was one of empathy. Elias was shown visions of different species in pain and conflict, suffering caused by fear and hatred. He felt their pain deeply. The flame whispered to him, "How will you bring peace to a galaxy torn by war?" Elias thought of Earth, a planet full of people different in many ways, yet bound together by hope and kindness. "By listening, by understanding, and by standing together," he said softly. The celestial flame pulsed, then faded away. The room returned to normal. Queen Zayara smiled warmly. "You have passed the trial of the celestial fire, Elias. You have shown wisdom, courage, and compassion, the true gifts of the progenitors." Elias felt a wave of relief and pride, but he knew his journey was far from over. "This trial was only the beginning," the queen said. "There are still many challenges ahead, but you will not face them alone." Elias looked around and saw the faces of his new allies, the Centhary scholars and warriors who had promised to guide and protect him. For the first time since arriving, Elias felt ready to face the future. He was not just a human. He was the heir of a great legacy, chosen to change the fate of the stars. After passing the trial of the celestial fire, Elias felt stronger and more confident, but the peace he hoped for was fragile. The shadows of war still loomed over the galaxy. Queen Zayara called a secret meeting deep within the palace. Only the closest allies and Elias were present. The room was dimly lit, filled with maps of stars and glowing symbols showing enemy movements. "We have won a small victory," the queen said quietly. "But the Threx dominion is only the beginning. There is a hidden enemy among us." Elias frowned. "A spy?" Zayara nodded. "Yes, someone close to the throne works with the Dominion. They seek to sabotage our alliance and steal the progenitor legacy." Elias's mind raced. How could he find this traitor before it was too late? Thala, the silver-skinned scholar, stepped forward. "We have clues, but the traitor is clever. They move in the shadows, using secrets and lies." One of the warriors, strong and silent, added, "We must be careful. Trust is fragile, and the wrong accusation could destroy everything." Elias felt the weight of their words. He knew the danger was not just from outside enemies, but from those inside who betrayed their own people. The queen gave Elias a small device, a crystal that could reveal hidden messages and detect lies. "Use this wisely," she said. "But remember, trust your heart as much as this tool." Elias nodded. For days, Elias worked with his new allies to uncover the traitor. They watched meetings, listened to whispers, and followed secret trails. Each step brought new challenges. Elias felt the pressure of being a stranger in a strange land, trying to understand not only the alien cultures, but also the hidden games of power. One night, Elias found a secret message hidden inside an ancient text in the palace library. The message warned of a planned attack on the Queen during the next conclave gathering, a meeting of the galaxy's leaders. The traitor was close, too close. Elias shared this news with the Queen. She looked grave, but nodded. "We must prepare. The conclave is our chance to unite the galaxy. If the Dominion attacks now, all will be lost." Elias felt a surge of determination. He would protect the Queen and the future of the galaxy, no matter the cost. As the day of the conclave approached, Elias trained harder than ever. He learned to use the alien weapons and technology. He studied the politics and histories of the many species. But inside, he knew the greatest challenge was to find and stop the hidden enemy before the final attack. The day of the conclave had finally arrived. Leaders and diplomats from across the galaxy gathered in the shining halls of the HFY Palace. The air buzzed with tension and hope for peace, but fear of attack. Captain Elias Work stood beside Queen Zayara as the Grand Assembly began. Delegates of many shapes and sizes spoke of alliances, trade, and shared futures. But Elias knew the danger was close. Hidden among the crowd were enemies, the Threx Dominion spies, waiting for the right moment to strike. Elias's eyes scanned the room carefully. He held the crystal device the Queen had given him, hoping it would help find the traitor. But the device showed only faint signals. The spy was skilled at hiding their tracks. Suddenly, the palace lights flickered and dimmed. A heavy silence fell. Then, from the shadows, blasts of energy tore through the grand hall. Chaos exploded. Aliens shouted and ran for cover. The Threx Dominion's forces had attacked. Elias drew his weapon and moved quickly, protecting the Queen as her guards formed a shield around her. The attackers were fierce, but Elias fought with everything he had. He dodged blasts, returned fire, and helped injured allies to safety. In the midst of the battle, Elias noticed a figure slipping away toward the throne room. The traitor. Without hesitation, Elias chased after them. The corridor was dark and silent except for their footsteps. Elias's heart pounded. He was close. The traitor turned, revealing a familiar face, one of the Queen's trusted advisors. The betrayal cut deep. "You should not have come after me, human," the traitor sneered, raising the hidden blade. Elias dodged just in time and tackled the traitor to the ground. They struggled fiercely, but Elias's training and determination gave him the edge. "Why?" Elias demanded. "Why betray your own people?" The traitor laughed bitterly. "Power is everything. The progenitor legacy belongs to those strong enough to take it, not to some human pawn." Elias shook his head. "You're wrong. True power is in unity and honor." He subdued the traitor and called for guards to take them away. Returning to the throne room, Elias saw Queen Zayara standing tall despite the chaos. The assembly was broken but not destroyed. The Queen raised her voice. "This attack will not break us. We will rebuild, stronger and united." Elias felt pride and hope. The galaxy's future was uncertain, but he was ready to fight for it. Not as a visitor, but as a true heir. After the attack on the conclave, the HFY Palace was filled with urgency. Leaders and warriors from many planets gathered to heal the wounds and prepare for what was coming next. Elias stood with Queen Zayara, feeling the weight of responsibility growing heavier every day. The progenitor legacy was no longer just a mystery. It was a mission to protect peace in a galaxy full of danger. The Queen called a new meeting. "We must build a stronger alliance," she said. "The Threx Dominion will not stop. They want to control everything." Elias agreed. "We need to bring together more worlds, not just the powerful, but the small and forgotten ones too. Together, we are stronger. The leaders nodded, and plans began to form. Elias traveled with Centauri diplomats to distant planets, meeting strange new species. He spoke with them about trust, hope, and the future. Some were afraid. Some were angry. But Elias's words were honest and full of passion. He shared stories of Earth, a place where different people learned to live together, even after hard times. Slowly, alliances grew. Worlds once divided began to see the strength in unity. Back at the palace, Elias trained with warriors from many species. Each day, he learned more about their cultures and strengths. He grew not just as a fighter, but as a leader. One evening, while studying an ancient map, Elias found a new discovery, a hidden star system marked with the symbol of the progenitors. This could be a secret stronghold, he told Queen Ziera, a place where we might find more relics or knowledge. The queen's eyes sparkled. Then we must send a team to explore it. And soon, Elias prepared for the journey with a small group of trusted allies. The mission was dangerous, but the reward could change everything. As their ship left the orbit of the Centauri homeworld, Elias looked back at the stars. The galaxy was vast and full of mystery, but now he was part of a new story, one of hope, courage, and unity. No matter what challenges came next, Elias was ready to face them. He was no longer just a human in an alien world. He was a leader, the heir of the progenitors, and a symbol of peace for all. The small ship glided through the quiet darkness of the hidden star system. Elias sat at the helm, his eyes fixed on the glowing symbols that marked their path. Around him, his team prepared for what lay ahead, a place lost in time, waiting to reveal the secrets of the progenitors. As they landed on a strange, rocky planet, Elias felt a mixture of excitement and caution. The air was thin and cold, but the land held an ancient power. Towering structures rose from the ground, covered in glowing symbols like those in the palace vault. "This place is incredible," whispered Thala, her silver skin shimmering under the strange light. The progenitors left much here. Elias led the group forward, each step echoing in the silent halls of the ancient city. They found devices and relics unlike anything seen before, machines that seemed to hum with life, and walls that told stories of stars and civilizations long gone. Suddenly, the ground trembled. From the shadows emerged a guardian, a massive, mechanical being designed to protect the secrets of the progenitors. Elias raised his hand, signaling peace. The guardian paused, its eyes glowing softly. Then, to everyone's surprise, it stepped aside, allowing them to pass. The team moved deeper, finding a chamber filled with light. In the center was a crystal pedestal. Elias approached and placed his hand on the crystal. Visions flooded his mind, the history of the progenitors, their hopes for unity across the galaxy, and their faith in the heirs who would carry on their work. Elias understood now. The progenitors had created many species, but they had hoped that one day, a chosen few, like him, would unite them all. With this knowledge, Elias felt a new strength. He was not just a visitor or a fighter. He was a leader with a purpose greater than himself. As the team returned to their ship, Elias looked up at the stars. The galaxy was vast, full of dangers and mysteries, but also hope. Back on the Centauri homeworld, Queen Ziera greeted them with pride. "You have brought us the light of the progenitors," she said. Elias smiled. "We are ready now, ready to build a future where all species can live together in peace." The galaxy would remember this day, the day a human stood with the alien queen, not as a stranger, but as a true heir of the stars. And the legacy of the progenitors would live on, shining bright across the universe. Princess Ziera stood tall in the great hall of the Zelvar Palace. Her sharp eyes burned with anger as she faced her mother, Empress Dulthra. The walls around them were covered with bright tapestries and glowing crystals. Outside, the stars shone cold and distant. "Mom, why do I have to marry a human?" Ziera shouted, her voice echoing through the hall. Her forearms were crossed tightly over her chest. Her blue skin shimmered under the palace lights, and her long hair floated like a dark wave behind her. Empress Velthra looked calm but firm. "Silara, this marriage is important for the future of our people," she said quietly. "The Zelvar Dominion is at war with the United Terran Accord. Both sides have lost many lives. If we do not make peace, the war will destroy us all." Silara's eyes flashed. "But a human. They are soft, weak, and strange. They do not understand our ways. I am a warrior princess. I should marry a Zelvar noble, someone strong, like me." Velfer sighed deeply. "The humans have strengths you do not see. They are brave and clever. They have survived many dangers on their home world. But more importantly, they have something we need: unity. This marriage will create a bond between our two empires. It is the best chance to stop the fighting." Silara shook her head. "I refuse. I will not be a pawn in politics. I will not be forced to live with a stranger who looks nothing like me." The Empress stepped forward and placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "I know this is hard, but you must think about your people, not just yourself. Peace means safety. Peace means hope. You are the future of the Zelvar Dominion." Silara looked away. The weight of her mother's words sank into her heart, but her pride still burned bright. "If this is true peace," she whispered, "then why do I feel like a prisoner?" Velfer's eyes softened. "Because you are leaving your old life behind. But I believe you will find new strength in this marriage. You may learn that humans are not so different from us." A silence filled the room. Outside, the stars blinked cold and distant. "Tomorrow, you will meet him," Velfer said. "Commander Jason Rhodes of the United Terran Accord. He is a skilled warrior and a leader among his people." Silara clenched her fists. "I will meet him, but I will not marry him." Velthra smiled sadly. "That is not your choice to make. The future of two empires depends on it." Silara left the hall, her heart heavy and her mind racing. She felt anger, fear, and something strange: curiosity. Who was this human that her mother trusted so much? And what would happen if the war did not end? As the doors closed behind her, the Empress whispered to herself, "May the stars guide us all." Commander Jason Rhodes sat in the small briefing room on the Terran flagship Liberty. His uniform was clean but worn, and his eyes showed years of hard battles and long space missions. He was known as a brave leader, a man who never gave up even when the odds were against him. A hologram flickered in front of him. It showed the face of the Terran High Council's leader, Admiral Lyssa Grant. Her voice was serious. "Commander Rhodes, we have a special mission for you. The Zelvar Dominion has agreed to a peace treaty with Earth, but they want it sealed with a marriage. You will be the human groom." Jason blinked in surprise. "Marriage? You're joking, right?" "No joke," Admiral Grant replied. "It is a political alliance. Commander, your skills and reputation make you the best choice. The peace treaty could save millions of lives." Jason ran a hand through his short brown hair. He was no stranger to strange orders, but this one felt different. And the bride? A Zelvar princess. Her name is Silara. Warrior, skilled fighter, and very proud of her people. She doesn't want this marriage any more than you do. Jason smirked. "Sounds like a real dream." Admiral Grant's face softened. "We don't expect it to be easy, but this is history in the making. If you succeed, the war ends and a new era begins." Jason stood up. "All right. Admiral, when do I meet this princess?" "Tomorrow, on the diplomatic station Harmony's Edge." The meeting ended, but Jason's mind raced. He thought of all the battles he had fought, all the aliens he had met. The Zelvar were known as fierce warriors, with 4 arms and sharp claws. He wondered how he would survive being married to one. That night, Jason packed his gear and prepared for the journey. He looked at a photo of his family on his ship's table. "For peace," he whispered, "and for a new future." The next day, aboard Harmony's Edge, Jason waited in a bright, clean room. The doors slid open, and in stepped Celara. She was taller than he expected, with blue skin that shone under the lights. Her forearms moved with grace and strength. Her eyes, sharp and full of fire, locked onto him. Jason felt a mix of fear and curiosity. "Commander Rhodes," Celara said coldly, "so you are the human I am supposed to marry." Jason smiled nervously. "That's me. And you must be Princess Celara. I heard you're quite the fighter." She lifted one eyebrow. "I will not lose to a soft-skinned human." Jason laughed. "I'm not soft. Just different." For a moment, silence filled the room. Both knew this was the start of something much bigger than themselves. Suddenly, the doors opened again, and a diplomat stepped inside. "Welcome to the beginning of peace." Jason and Celara exchanged one last look, equal parts challenge and hope. The future was uncertain, but one thing was clear: their worlds were about to change forever.